Coming up on Network Africa. Tanzanian president receives coronavirus vaccine, kicking off the country's vaccination campaign. Hundreds demonstrate in Jigjiga over alleged killings in Ethiopia's Afar region. Plus, calm around Tunisian parliament for another day as another party urges unity. Hello and a warm welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shuboale. We begin in East Africa, where Tanzania's president, Samia Suluhu, has been vaccinated against COVID-19. Her predecessor, the late John Magufuli, was a coronavirus skeptic and was opposed to foreign-made vaccines. Mrs. Samia, who took office in March, is taking a different direction, urging the public to follow preventive guidelines. The country recently received 1 million Johnson & Johnson vaccines through the COVAX initiative. At the launch ceremony, President Samia urged all Tanzanians to get vaccinated and said that more doses would be obtained. The 61-year-old added that she wouldn't lead the country on a dangerous path as she was a mother, grandmother, as well as president. We'll have more on that in the meantime. Owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, UNICEF says more than 600 million children in countries not on academic break are still affected by school closures. In countries such as Uganda, this has led to a 20% spike in the last 15 months in teen pregnancies. The UN agency estimates in Eastern and Southern Africa that 40% of all children aged 5 to 18 are currently out of school. In nearly half of countries in Asia and the Pacific, schools have been closed for around 200 days. Latin America and the Caribbean have seen some of the longest closures ever, with 18 countries and territories affected by either full or partial closures.
Food are being replaced by anxiety, violence, and teenage pregnancy. So if we look at one country, Uganda, we've seen a 20% spike in the last 15 months in teen pregnancies, or in pregnancies of 10 to 24-year-old girls who were seeking antenatal care. Across the globe, in all continents, we've seen child helplines, a good precursor to understanding kids who are reporting violence, seeing often triple-digit increases. More than 600 million children who aren't on an academic break remain affected by school closures, 600 million. In Asia and the Pacific, in nearly half the countries, schools have been closed for about 200 days there. Amid some of the longest closures ever seen in Latin America and the Caribbean, still 18 countries are affected by full or partial closures. And as of today, our most recent estimates in Eastern and Southern Africa are that 40%, 4 in 10 of all children 5 to 18 are currently out of school. At least a third of the world's children, remote learning is just not an option. We're not talking about too much time for children on screens. They don't have access to screens. Again, in East Asia and the Pacific, 80 million children have no access whatsoever to any remote learning. If you go back to Eastern and Southern Africa, Uganda, children there have passed the 300 days out of school. Home internet connectivity, the lowest on the planet, is about 0.3%.
And away from the COVID-19 pandemic, hundreds of people have taken to the streets in the town of Jigjiga, the capital of the Somali region, to protest against what the local government said were killings of hundreds of civilians by militia members from neighboring Afar region on Saturday. The president of Ethiopia's Somali region, Mustafa Umar, says a vital road and rail trade artery linking the landlocked capital of Addis Ababa to the seaport of Djibouti was blocked. The majority of goods entering Ethiopia, a country of around 110 million people, are transported via that corridor. Umar's government claims that militia from the neighboring region of Afar had attacked and looted a town, the latest flare-up in a local boundary dispute that adds to high tensions in the Horn of Africa country. And in North Africa, the UN says practically all peacekeepers and staff have now left the hybrid UN African Union mission in Darfur, Sudan, in line with its drawdown plan. Atul Kare, Under Secretary General for Operational Support, updated ambassadors on progress towards the mission's closure and final liquidation following the end of its mandate last December. After 13 years protecting civilians uprooted by conflict, nearly 6,000 troops and police were repatriated from the Sudanese province ahead of the drawdown deadline of June the 30th, and nearly 1,200 civilian staff were separated from the mission.
The developments in Sudan amply demonstrate that the arm of justice is long and patient, that justice may be relayed by those who stand in its way, but justice has more durability than politics of a few whose aim is to shield culpability. Justice and the voice of the people and the wronged ultimately prevailed.
Madam.
Meanwhile, over in South Sudan, international monitors say they are worried over continued clashes threatening the troubled country's peace deal, which has been implemented to end years of conflict. Sporadic clashes are being reported in various parts of the country, pitting government forces and different opposition armed groups. Meanwhile, the governor of Jonglei, Denai Jokshagor, has encouraged state officials to consistently engage in talk on how to resolve issues that have over the years afflicted and disrupted peace in the area located to the east of the country. He made the comments at the UN MIS Civil Affairs Governors and Stakeholders Forum, which brought together political and traditional leaders.
Speaking at the three-day United Nations mission in South Sudan, Civil Affairs Governors and Stakeholders Forum in Bor, Governor Denai Jokshagor stressed the importance of denouncing tribal politics.
All our conditions are very similar in all the countries. The issue of water, either flood, clean drinking water, the issue of school, hospital, the issue of child abduction, the issue of communal violence, revenge killing. And so it won't go away until we talk about it, until we address it. And so to tell you the truth, government can solve some of the problems, but government cannot solve all the problems.
Thank you very much. And I want to...
The forum brought together state ministers, county commissioners, chiefs, traditional leaders, women, and youth leaders.
I believe that I can understand somebody as long as we speak the same language. And I believe that people can understand me if they can hear me. I do believe that. So I don't think that even if we fight, I believe that later on we can talk about it and we can figure out why we're fighting. I do believe that. So I want to try to carry in everything I do that if there is confusion, let's deal with the confusion before we move forward. Because if we try to move forward while there's confusion, we cannot move.
On her part, Professor Julia Akerduani, an Undersecretary at the National Public Sector Ministry, highlights the urgent need to roll out final security arrangements as contained within South Sudan's 2018 Revitalized Peace Agreement.
What has been left is how we can security arrangement, and I think if we can have a sizable, army or organized forces which are not too bulky but focused and trained to become a national army, I think we can make it.
The three-day meeting was aimed at building trust among government officials, sharpening their understanding on their role in implementing the provisions of the revitalized peace agreement, and preparing a final document for an upcoming governors' forum in the country's capital, Juba.
Still in North Africa, calm prevails for the second day in areas surrounding the Tunisian parliament after leading Islamist party Ennahda called for dialogue and urged supporters not to protest after accusing President Kais Saied of launching a coup. Tunisia faced its worst political crisis in a decade of democracy after President Saied, backed by the army, sacked the prime minister and froze parliament on Sunday. But the moderately Islamist Ennahda movement, the biggest party in parliament, and the next three largest parties have all denounced the move as a coup, reversing a call on its supporters on Monday to take to the streets against President Saied, and others urged dialogue and efforts to avoid civil strife. Well, let's head back to Tanzania now, where the country has taken a U-turn, kicking off its COVID-19 vaccination. Well, Tanzanian journalist Dr. Bulendu joins us now for more on this. Thank you so much for your time. This move is a huge difference from Tanzania under President John Magufuli. How are people reacting that now that the vaccination campaign is kicked off? Are people eager to receive it?
There is a mix of reaction from the ground here in Tanzania. Some are supporting while others they do not support. And this is because of the history of COVID-19 here in Tanzania, because the former government under Magufuli was not after the measures taken by international organization, and the incumbent government under Samia Suluhu Hassan is supporting the measures which are taken by the international organizations in the other nations. So there is two groups here in Tanzania. Some are supporting while others are not supporting. And even if you visit in the social media and you go direct to the street, people are not, they have different reactions. Some says we better keep on using traditional ways of controlling COVID-19 here in Tanzania. And the others says we better use an international measures which are supported by international organizations, WHO, and the other countries.
You know, President Samia has said she wouldn't lead the country on a dangerous path, as she was a mother, grandmother, as well as president. Seeing that people are a bit, reluctant to take the vaccine, what else has been put in place in the country to curb the spread of the virus, especially amid fears of the Delta variant?
The government has a lot of campaign to educate the people here in Tanzania on how to be safe with coronavirus, with COVID-19 here in Tanzania. Yes, there is a mix of reaction, but the government has been insisting and trying to educate the people to follow the international measures under the WHO. But also the government of Tanzania has been trying to follow or to use the ways or the measure which was after the former government under Magufuli, to use traditional ways of controlling the coronavirus here in Tanzania. For example, nowadays we are now see a lot of adverts from the government and NGOs trying to educate people to observe the social distances, to wear masks, but still the number of people who are wearing masks, the number of people who are ready to observe the social distance is small compared to those people who they do not want to use masks, the people who they do not to observe the social distances here in Tanzania. So Samia Suluhu Hassan, our president, for example, today and before today, she has been trying to convince people to obey the international standards of controlling the COVID-19, the spread of coronavirus here in Tanzania.
All right, then, Tanzanian journalist Dr. Belundu, thank you so much for joining us on the program, and do stay safe.
I thank you very much.
Still to come on the program. World commemorates Hepatitis Day 2021 with the theme Hepatitis Can't Wait. More in a moment. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. New research by Amnesty International has revealed the devastating scale of destruction caused by the ongoing conflict in Cameroon's Anglophone regions. Fighting between various armed groups and the Cameroon Armed Forces has continued unabated for the past 3 years, with civilians bearing the brunt of unlawful killings, kidnappings, and widespread destruction of houses and villages. Amnesty International says government intervention has been limited and there's been a near complete silence from the international community. Cameroonian journalist Lovelyn Eneje joins us now for more on this. Lovelyn, just help us understand this better. Why the violence in Anglophone Cameroon?
The violence in Anglophone Cameroon, just like we can say in any other country where the citizens or the nationals of a country think that the government is not satisfying their needs. In Cameroon, it's not something that started today. It dates since 1961, when the two entities or legal territories that were first of all ruled by British and the French came together. They accepted that there are two equal parts coming together, but later on, they saw that it wasn't the issue because one part felt marginalized, most especially the Anglophone part of the country felt marginalized, and they thought that they could make their voices heard in various ways to the government so that their needs will be satisfied.
Well, what exactly do the people want, and what other avenues have they explored to share their grievance?
Okay, what exactly do the people want? I want to just tell you that in 1961, in the Fumban conference, like I was saying earlier, these two legal territories, they came together and, they said it's a country on its own. There are two languages, there are two official languages, that is English and French, supposed to be considered the same, which means information comes out in English, it comes out as well in French. And the teachers, because this strike started 5 years on, that it has really been intense, started since 2016, with the lawyers thinking that the civil law, which is a French system of justice, should remain in French Cameroon, while the common law, which is the English system, should remain in Anglophone Cameroon. But they were dissatisfied because the civil law was practiced in the English system of the justice system of the country. And they thought that they would be marginalized because they were not being judged using what their origins are, which is the common law, which is a British system of justice. And the teachers too came up because the teachers thought that they were not well treated. Okay. The teachers saw that they were doing transfer of teachers from French Cameroon into English Cameroon, and it didn't only end there, but the French teachers who were transferred into English Cameroon were struggling to teach, of course, children in schools in broken English because the English they were talking was not up to standards, and the output of the students was not what was expected of them. So the teachers thought that the government could rethink their strategies of doing the transfer of teachers. Yeah. By so doing, taking all of the English teachers, sending them to English Cameroon, or better still, even if you are from a French-speaking background, you should have the master of English, like your first language, to go and teach students so that the output will be what is expected of the children.
All right, Lovelyn.
Well, they had to write, the teachers wrote it.
Yeah, I was just saying, Amnesty International says there's been near complete silence from the international community. Why do you think the international community is shying away from their cause?
There's been silence from the international community. I don't know whether I would say it is an overstatement or understatement, because we have the United Nations that have reacted. Probably it's not what the people expected that it should do, because they have called on the government to seek for true dialogue, to come for true dialogue and even take the matter to the United Nations Security Council. We've got even the French government that has called on the government to have, a rethink of their strategies, come in for dialogue. We've seen Cameroonians who have written even to Britain, to the British government, and they have been asked also, for a dialogue. But probably Amnesty International's worry is because they expected that since we are former colonies, they need to come in directly and go back to the root cause that's dated since the two legal territories came together.
All right, then, Cameroon journalist Lovelyn Nneje, thank you so much for shedding some light on the situation in the country for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on now, members of the South African Defence Force and South African Police Services have continued a joint operation to recover some of the looted goods in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal provinces at the Nguni hostel in Vosloorus in the east of Johannesburg. They recovered not just household goods, but live ammunition in one of the homes. This follows more than a week of civil unrest allegedly sparked by the arrest and imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma for contempt of court.
The Operation Door-to-Door Search at the Nguni hostel in Vosloorus, Johannesburg, East Rand, was part of the recovery effort for stolen goods during the widespread looting and arson witnessed earlier this month in two provinces in South Africa. Food items, money stolen from ATMs, electronic appliances were among things recovered.
As we can see, when they enter into various houses around here, you can see looted items. You can see that in other households you find 6 million meals inside the house, and some of the things they are still sealed, and you can see these are the things which had been looted.
The door-to-door search operation, which took about 5 hours, saw some residents arrested. Items like live bullets were also recovered. A local retail store owner was arrested as he could not confirm the source of some of his stock, and his friend explained what happened. Some of the people looked on, many saying they're quite unhappy about the raids. Those who spoke to us in isiZulu said while not all of them looted, they believe the people who did were pushed to loot because most were hungry and unemployed. Minister in the presidency, Kumbutsu Ntabeni, had told the media that recovered goods from the raids would be destroyed so as not to devalue those still on the shelves. But this community resident wants them donated to those in need.
Sacela phela thina sidonethele ngalokudla abakuthathayo ngoba thina sasingatholanga lutho asinakho ukudla and sizwa kuthiwa lokudla lokubakuswa kwi-waste.
The Vosloorus Mall was not left out when the recent civil unrest saw a number of shopping malls and shops being looted in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal provinces, causing damage amounting to billions of rands to businesses and government institutions.
The world is marking World Hepatitis Day with the theme, Hepatitis Can't Wait, calling on all countries to work together to eliminate viral hepatitis as a public health threat by 2030. Experts say a hepatitis-free future is achievable with a united effort.
Hepatitis C is a blood-borne virus that can lead to serious liver damage, including cancer, when left untreated. However, treatment is hampered by the lack of awareness and inadequate access to diagnostic tools. Worldwide, 58 million people are estimated to be infected with hepatitis C, yet only 21% receive a diagnosis. An estimated 290,000 people lose their lives to hepatitis C-related causes each year. Progress in recent years has revolutionized treatment, making a cure now possible in just 3 months for more than 90% of people treated. Treatment lasting up to 1 year could cause serious side effects and have cure rates of around 50%. but treatments have little effect if people don't know they're infected. To combat this problem, UNITIDE has driven the development and scaled up simple diagnostic tools and demonstrated how to use them to improve their access by at-risk groups and through local clinics.
We are already seeing encouraging progress that shows us that meeting World Health Organization targets is possible. Since 2015, hepatitis C-related deaths have decreased by more than 25%, and the total number of people infected has fallen from 71 million to 58 million today. Thanks to the work of UNITIDE and our partners, we now have the tools we need to fight hepatitis C and achieve these goals, but there's no time to waste. Certain pioneering countries, such as Egypt and Rwanda, are already making this happen. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to strain health systems in resource-limited settings, it's more essential than ever that we bolster our progress against hepatitis C and avert preventable disease.
In 2016, the World Health Organization set a target for hepatitis elimination as global health threats.
And that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shuboale. Bye for now.